To begin, what exactly are flashbulb memories? They are a subcategory under autobiographical memory, which are the episodes and events of our lives, shaping how each of us thinks about ourselves and, therefore, how we behave. These are the memories like the first time you learned how to drive a car. They are the events in our lives which are personal to us individually. Flashbulb memories go a step further in the fact that they are memories of extraordinary clarity, typically for highly emotional events, retained despite the passage of many years. So what is the difference? Flashbulb memories have much greater detail, context, and confidence and accuracy than normal autobiographical memories. They are seemingly more rare and unusual than normal memories. Flashbulb memories can be personal. This could mean the death of someone in your family, getting engaged, the birth of a child, just to name a few. And then they can also be within a bigger scope of society, which is examples like September 11th, the assassination of JFK, the Challenger explosion, the death of Princess Diana, and other widespread stories that provoke a highly emotional response. Flashbulb memories were first discovered in 1977 by Brown and Kulik. In their study, the goal was to see if shocking events are recalled more vividly and correctly than other events. They asked 80 participants to recall circumstances of learned shocking events, and in this case, the assassination of JFK. They found that vivid memories for unexpected and personally relevant events. And then the cons of this experiment is that they did not determine if the memory was correct and accurate. For my mom's recall of 9/11, she always ends her recount of the story saying, "I remember it like it just happened yesterday." For flashbulb memories, people are able to recall where, what they were doing, how they felt, how others felt, and the importance of the event. In some cases, like 9/11, the informant is also remembered. This is why it was given the name flashbulb, as this relates to taking an old-time picture. In order to form such a memory, you need to use two processing stages: initial formation and maintenance. In the formation of the memory, it is the exposure to the extraordinary event. Looking in on the example I mentioned earlier, my mom was exposed to the events that gave way to her remembering 9/11. She tuned into her surroundings, so to speak, more normally than she would have any other day. In her brain, she was encoding this setting like a mini snapshot, and according to research done by William Hurst and Elizabeth A. Phelps, encoding of this memory can be increased in the arousal prompted by the emotional response. In simpler terms, because this is a highly emotional event, my mom's brain took more note of the surroundings. Here, I would also like to note that in traumatic memories, this arousal can lead to repression of the memories through stress. In both cases, however, emotional arousal is essential for creating such the memory to be formed. The maintenance of the memory is reinforced through recalling the information. Much like how my mom is recounting the events of 9/11, rehearsal of the memory goes past just rehearsing the information quantitatively. According to Michelle Roham, a professor of psychology at Wake Forest, rehearsal extensiveness of the memory plays a key role in why we remember them in great detail. It is the number of specifics and sensory cues that get invoked on each occasion of rehearsing a story. The small details, so to speak, are not being deleted as they would in everyday memory, but are instead used to emphasize meaning and confidence in the memory. This also explains why my mom recalls the events of 9/11 frequently, because there are many cues that lead to specific memory. For example, there are many times where she states a smell that reminds her of the time when she heard about the fall of the Twin Towers. Emotional intensity was studied by Hornstein, Brown, and Mulligan in 2003. They found a significant correlation in memory accuracy and emotion studying students after the death of Princess Diana. Those with high and medium emotional intensity had much more accurate memories. This study shows that although one person may have a flashbulb memory for an event, a person who is exposed to the same event may not have as strong memory if they did not have as strong as an emotional connection. After another study done by Tali Sherritt after 9/11, participants were asked to recall memories of 9/11 and control events from the same year. Participants were either in downtown Manhattan, close to the event, or midtown, a few miles away. The downtown participants had selective activation of the amygdala as they recalled memories of 9/11, but not in the control events. These participants also reported emotionally enhanced recollective experiences. This would make sense, as the amygdala is part of the brain that registers emotion and also plays a role in memory. This makes it the connection that the more activated amygdala, the more vivid the memory. Our memory tends to deceive us, as there are no boundaries to keep the episodes separate from one another. As social beings, we want to make interpersonal connections with one another. Our society functions off being able to share knowledge with one another. This ties in with flashbulb memories, as people share their stories between one another. The facts get slightly mixed to make it seem more truthful, accurate, and exciting. On the other hand, highly remembered events may be so memorable because there is no schema made for such a crazy event, like the collapse of the Twin Towers. Our minds, therefore, cannot make memories out of other knowledge because there is no prior knowledge to this event. In a study done by Genius Walters and Jupe J. Goudsmit found that after 2 months, flashbulb memory consistency scored high. Only 8% of the participants changed facts about the first account of memory. However, this did prove that flashbulb memories are not the exception to decay, as some did change facts about their memory. To determine if flashbulb memories were as accurate as they seemed, Neisier and Harsh in 1992 set out to use the Challenger disaster to see if flashbulb memories would be accurate over a period of time. They used 106 students that answered a questionnaire describing details of the Challenger event within the first 24 hours of it happening. 2.5 years later, 44 of those students answered the questionnaire again and rated how confident they were in their memories. This study concluded that major differences between the original and follow-up, accuracy being around 3 out of 7. This shows that although we may be so confident in our memory, that doesn't mean that it's always correct. The media can affect flashbulb memories as it plays a role in changing the accuracy of the memory. It implants new information in our brain that morphs into our own memories. Images of the 9/11 attack can change people's memories for many reasons, a couple being that they put more weight on their own beliefs, making their story seem much more accurate and much more reliable to those that they are sharing it with.